You're listening to the Port City Podcast, where Portsmouth businessmen and women take the mic. Now on to the show with your hosts, Ben Van Camp and Jen Stevens.
Welcome everybody to the 5th episode of the Port City Podcast. We're really excited to be back with Suzanne Foley, the owner of Port City Pretzels, and have Jen with us again, who's our digital engagement and special events and social media. She does a lot. Anyway.
Thank you.
But we're really excited to hear more about Port City Pretzels and learn a little bit more about Suzanne and just kind of chat. So I wanted to start with saying, at some point you had to be sitting down and saying, I need to make pretzels. So tell us about that moment where you decided to go into the pretzel business, because it's kind of like it's a little bit of a random one to just jump into, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I actually thought about it like 30 years ago. Okay, I really did. When I first had them, I was like, these are good. And at the time, I thought they should be called Portsmouth Pretzels, which I was for a hot minute. Mm-hmm. I was Portsmouth Pretzels. And fast forward, I was working in a career at my age. You start to think about retirement, and all of a sudden I went in one day and I didn't have the job anymore. So that was a bummer. So and I also had some real tragedy in my family. So I was a very low point. And it was actually I was going through unemployment meetings, feeling really sorry for myself. And I'm not kidding you, it was in one of those meetings, and I was sitting there and we were learning about, going out for job interviews. I mean, I'm dying. I'm 56 years old and I'm like, I can't believe this is happening to me. And I was like, I'm going to make these pretzels. I'm going to make these pretzels. That's how it started.
That's how it started, okay.
Yeah.
So tell us, what was the first flavor you went with?
So the first flavor I went with was the first one that I had 30 years ago at my mother-in-law's house, and we always had, these pretzels would always be around, and they were so good.
She made them?
She had them at her house. She made them. It was a different process than I do, but it was the seasoning.
Yep.
It was the same seasoning.
Who's your mother-in-law?
Oh, Eileen Foley. Yeah.
Famous name.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So that's where the inspiration came from. Definitely from Eileen, and it's crazy. And I wish she was here to see what was happening, because she would just tickled pink. But so in middle school projects, my kids would be in middle school, and they would have to do entrepreneurial type projects. Yeah. And they made these pretzels, and they would sell out. And so again, that was always in the back of my mind.
Cool.
Pretzels were always there.
It's amazing, interesting things always come out of that moment of sort of desperation, where you're you're kind of get that back against the wall, and you either have to go for it or fold up shop or something. And, those are always really interesting stories to me. Yeah,
it really was. I mean, it's the real thing, and I still can't believe it. And from the day I had to write a letter to the state. I applied for a Pathways program through the unemployment office, where instead of going to look for jobs, you could work on your business. Yeah. And so I was accepted into that program, and I still have the paragraph that I had to write to get accepted into the program. Awesome. And I haven't stopped since then. It's just incredible. Cool. Yeah. So again, the intent was to sell them in downtown Portsmouth, but it's kind of changed a little bit.
Well, they're still for sale a lot in downtown
Portsmouth.
They're
for sale in a lot of places in Portsmouth, and I love everybody, and they all sell them. Sometimes I get nervous. I can't sell any more in Portsmouth, and I get nervous that I'm a little too saturated, but everybody's placing orders, and they're reordering, so it's good.
Yeah.
Great. Where can we get them right now if we need them, right now, from here?
Right now?
These.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Besides those, in downtown, a Trezzy's, Portsmouth Provisions, Goobies, Hotel Portsmouth, McKinnon's, Seaport Fish, Saunders.
Great Rhythm Brewing.
Great Rhythm Brewing, thank you.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Pretzels and beer.
Right.
I know.
The perfect combination.
It is the perfect combination.
And what is your favorite place to eat your pretzels?
My favorite place to eat my pretzels? Store? That's a
No,
good
it doesn't have to be
question.
a store. It could be anywhere.
You know what it is? It's like 7 o'clock at night and I'm still at work and I'm starving. And one of my workers one time told me about mixing the cinnamon sugar with whipped cream cheese, like a pumpkin spice cream cheese. And so I'll crave that. I'm like, okay.
That's a cool
So
idea.
I enjoy my pretzels that way.
There you go.
So how far is the reach now? I mean, before we started the show, we were talking about going to a show in Chicago. They're available across the country?
They're available across the country. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm sprinkled in California. I'm in Montana. I'm in Arkansas. I'm in Texas, pretty heavy. I'm in Oklahoma, pretty heavy. New England, it's funny, that just happened. That happened out west because they asked for me. Ohio is starting to pick up, New York, so it's fun. Yeah.
Cool.
Connecticut.
And how did you get the slogan, the People's Pretzel?
Okay, so that's a great story. I have made use of the resources that are in this state and available to everybody. When I started out doing this, I didn't know how to make pretzels. I was a business manager, a business person, and I didn't, know about food. So I would always get training and get help and take whatever was available to me, whether it was with SCORE, the SBA, SBDC, whoever, and also the university. So I actually went to the university. I've worked with the Paul School, the MBA program, and the undergraduates. It was a group of 6 or 7 undergraduates that actually came up with that tagline.
Oh, really?
And I went with it, so it was great.
Did you have to pay them for it?
Yeah, pretzels. Pretzels.
That's a good commodity on a college campus. Like snack food's huge. That's awesome.
I paid them in pretzels.
And what about believe in yourself, believe in the goodness of everyone?
Yeah. That's my thing. I really believe in that. It's when you are faced with some real life-changing things, it's hard, and I just, I hope I can inspire other people. I hope I can inspire people maybe unhappy in their jobs or feeling like they're getting older and what's next, retirement or maybe not retirement. And I just feel that if you have an idea or a thought, just believe in yourself. So it's my thing, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you recently expanded and have a new space, and tell us about that and the process and where you're at and all that.
Yeah, well, I started out at the Mills in Dover, which is great space, lots of entrepreneurs in there. It's exciting, it's fun, and I quickly realized that I was hitting it just wasn't conducive to moving as fast as I was starting to move. And I have been controlling the growth, so it's not like I'm going crazy, although I am now. But so it just wasn't the right space. And I just happened to find a spot on Heritage Avenue. And I went from 500 square feet, thinking this would be just a local thing, to 900 square feet, to 1,200 square feet. Now I'm in 3,600 square feet.
Wow.
And it works really well. The inventory comes in and goes out pretty quick. So at the turnaround, we can fit. It's still a little tight, but we can fit in there. But it's also was the next step if I wanted to reach, across the country, that I had to be FDA compliant and audited and all that stuff. So the space works for that. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
So you don't actually bake the pretzels there? Like, is there a production facility?
I have a co-source that I do with the pretzels themselves.
Yeah.
And then when the pretzels come in, we have our seasoning, and we mix the seasoning into the pretzels, and we bake it into the pretzels.
Okay.
And then we package everything there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a little baking that happens here.
Yeah.
Cool.
I heard you have a pretzel called Feisty or something like that.
Feisty hot.
Do you
It's
have
my
that
favorite,
here?
actually. I love them.
I know.
Can we try one of your pretzels?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which one's your favorite that you have here?
Yeah, well, definitely the original.
The original?
Yeah, the original is definitely my favorite.
This one?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, yep. Help yourself. Yeah,
Tasty ranch dill.
Yeah, the Feisty Hot's
Easy open?
It's good. Easy open. Yeah,
Ooh, and
that
they're
was
little
something I learned. Originally my original bags were a little hard to open, so I was like,
I'm
I
probably
have to put a score line.
into my microphone. Yeah, those are good.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
It makes me want a Coca-Cola, though.
Yeah, or a draft.
So
IPA.
I think something you shared with me once was that a lot of the folks that work for you and do the packaging are adults with developmental delays, I think is the appropriate term to use.
Yeah,
so
workers
how
with
did
disabilities.
how did that happen? And that's an amazing thing that you do because they're great people. And,
you know, and I forget about that because, you know, I forget about that. My daughter is a counselor, mental health counselor, and was working in that area and was like, Mom, have you thought about, you know, and again, we were all at a real low. And when you can get there, it's amazing how that changes your perspective in life. Yeah. And she had talked to me about maybe hiring people that were released from jail, you know, different people that needed help.
Yep.
And I just happened to find out about the program that my workers came from, and which is escaping my mind right now. I can't believe it. It's a wonderful program. And I had some kids come over, and they were kids. They're 25, 26. They came over and they watched what happens in the facility, and they viewed it. They are able to kind of intern-ish, and they applied for the job, and I hired them. So I hired two of them, and then I had one fella in a wheelchair. Originally, I used to have a label that I would put on, and he came to ask me for a job, and I was like, wow, there's really nothing, I'm sorry, that you can do. And then I was like, wait, you can put labels, you can get labels on these things. And, you know, that's what he did. He did the labels, but I don't have labels anymore. I have another fella that's in a wheelchair, and he is able to use the pedal, and then he can put, you know, fill the pretzels and put them through the sealing machine. And then I have another woman that's deaf that works for me. So that's great. And yeah, it's good. And they're great workers, and you know, I hope that they're with me for a really long time, and I hope that we can grow and they can feel success too. So, because I always say, I'm like, you guys, you know, these pretzels that you're making, I mean, they're sold in California, you know. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
That's terrific.
Yeah.
What is your favorite part of the pretzel from pretzel making process, from branding to taste testing to deliveries to going to, what was that, the Sweet and...
Yeah, it was just in Chicago for the Sweet and Snack show.
Sweet and Snack.
Well, I love going to the trade shows.
You do?
You know, I used to work for a trade show company years ago, and that's a fun thing. And I'm going to be at the Fancy Food Show at the end of the month. It's fun. I get some real quick feedback. And I get, you know, some real feedback because it's all buyers, and they're the big buyers, and it's like, I love that. I love that. My favorite part really used to be delivering with my mother in the car.
That's awesome.
I mean, I loved it. You know, it was like,
great.
Life is good. You know, we'd come up to, like, you know, there'd be construction in the road, and I'm like, nah, it's okay. Like, right? How stressed are we all, right? And I was like, it's okay. We got plenty of time. We're just delivering pretzels. Oh, yeah. One time I had to stick them out my roof because the car was so full. But so I can't deliver anymore, unfortunately.
Right, yeah. You got too big.
Yeah. So.
Cool. Well, you recently did the 10,000 Small Businesses program, and we talked to Jeanette from Kilwins about that a little bit. Tell us, like, give us the short version of, like, what you thought, and I know the end result is that as a growth plan, and give us a little snapshot of what the future for Port City Pretzels is.
Yeah, well, so I was really excited about that, and basically, it's I don't know if Jeanette mentioned this from Kilwins, but it's a mini MBA program in entrepreneurship. And I went into this going, oh, well, I'll learn so much about marketing. I'm a terrible salesperson, so I'll learn about sales, I'll learn about marketing. But I got the numbers, I got all that. You know, I know numbers. Yeah. And boy, it was like a 360, because now, you know, instead of looking at this, I'm looking at these ratios. And it's a game changer. It was a game changer.
That's great.
Yeah, and I get it, and I get that, you know, it takes money. You know, that's always a scary thing. But when you start to grow, you know, the whole cash flow thing. Right. So I mean, it made me. It reassured me a little bit too. But what a wonderful, wonderful opportunity that was. Yeah, I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah. So about that future, what's that hold?
Future. Well, we're moving towards it right now, so we're moving pretty quick. I hope to get this. I'm moving into the mainstream and talking to a lot of the large grocery stores now. You know, that's the plan, and you know, I would love to, you know, prepare it for acquisition at some point for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and game.
So I was peeking at your Instagram, and do you actually own a bicycle display table?
Yes.
That's so cool.
Okay, yes, it is. Thank you. Oh my God, I love this thing. All right, so first it's like I see it in Home Goods. I'm like,
oh, it was in Home Goods?
Thank you, Home Goods. I think I've sold like 10 more because I've sent everybody there. And I saw it and I was like, all right, A, how am I going to fit it in my car? Got it in my car. Now, B, all right, I got to get it to Chicago. I mean, I can't even tell you
so
what
you bring
this
it with you to all the shows? That's cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah, but it doesn't come apart. So like, shrink wrapped in. I think it was like $400 to ship. I mean, it was probably not the smartest thing. and then we shipped it to New York. And so I was just talking to Peter, who's going to New York, my salesperson. I was like, we got to get this thing on C&J.
Oh, yeah.
My plan is to get it under C&J, or it might be on the front of C&J coming back from New York.
But yeah, you'll have to tip those guys.
Yeah, and I did that because I would like to.
It got on the C&J.
Well,
or
no,
it's going
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah, it's happening at the end of the month. But
all right.
Yeah,
watch out, Jim.
Yeah, look out.
Yeah, it was definitely it set me apart. I'm at these shows with pretzel fins.
Yeah.
Snyder's.
Right.
I mean, everybody's
there. So you're
there.
in like a whole pretzel area?
No, they're all over.
Okay.
No, none of us want to be near each other.
Right.
And I love when they come
Throwing
over and
pretzels
they're
on
like, and I love like last year Pretzel Thins launched a cinnamon sugar pretzel.
Mm-hmm.
So like they're $200,000 booth, and I'm in like my little homemade booth. And they were coming over because I feel my cinnamon sugar pretzels are superior, to their pretzels. So I'm like, you guys spend the marketing dollars, but I like how I'm kind of rubbing elbows, with those guys. So I wanted to stand out with a bike, and the bike definitely it stood out. So
that's great.
Thanks.
And what is the meaning of the Carlisle, Pennsylvania Instagram photo?
Oh, I had
unless it's private. It was
no,
Instagram,
not at all. I had a meeting with a whole Dale Hayes, and that is Food Lion, Peapod, Stop and Shop in Hannaford.
So big guys.
Big guys. So that was really fun. Oh yeah, I bombed down there. I'm like such a jet setter now. Rented a car, drove the 2 hours, stayed overnight, came back.
Funny.
Yeah.
Cool.
For a 10-minute meeting.
Yeah.
10 and 20-minute meetings.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I did see that you put up Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Alumni, and the Kilwins wrote that they do it all again in a heartbeat. And I'm assuming you might want to do that too.
Oh, yeah. Well, the program that we got with it, too, I'll be continuing with. And that time that I spent in the program, because it was a lot of time, hopefully I can use that to continue to grow the business and to step away sometimes, which you need to do. So,
right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, you get to that size where you can build up a team so you don't have to be married to it.
Yeah. Trying to get to that now.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that about wraps it up. I mean,
and I want to eat more. So.
Great.
I want to eat more without
Awesome.
crunching on the microphone. But we're excited to see, you continue to have success and grow and thrive and do what you do. It's fantastic. She might have mentioned there's a new flavor coming out, so we're excited to hear a little bit about that. But she wouldn't let us talk about it.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, and I love. This is Portsmouth. Dennis Robinson actually had suggested, the historian writer in town, that I changed the name, and he was right. But I'm proud. I'm proud that it's Portsmouth. I'm proud that it's from here.
Oh, so Jay Dennis helped you change it from Portsmouth Pretzels.
Yeah, I was Portsmouth Pretzels to Port City Pretzels. That was the right thing to do. See, I didn't know. I mean, everything I've done is people have suggested or made suggestions, so that makes it kind of fun. That's
great.
Yeah.
Everybody, community gets to contribute a little bit. That's
So
awesome.
a new flavor in the fall.
All right.
Woo-hoo.
Look out for that. So
Thank you.
everybody should check them out. If you haven't enjoyed these yet, please do. They're fantastic. I give them for gifts and stuff, and I always have
thank
great
you.
reviews. So
Thank you.
awesome. Well, thanks for being here.
Okay.
And we look forward to our next conversation, which will be out in about 2 weeks. But check out our previous episodes with Peter Labrie, Joe Farrow, Jeanette, all sorts of great conversations and lots of things to take in there. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.